सत श्री अकाल ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਗੈਸਟ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ ਫੀਮੇਲ ਗੈਸਟ ਇਹ ਹੈਗੀ Candy School, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Hart.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
I just wanted to congratulate you with all the stuff that you have acquired through your life, you know, and where you are right now, stuff like that. Candice is the president of the Sports Calgary. And what we want to talk about today is more about we're going to go a little bit further back a little bit. We wanted to know, growing up with this child, how was that like? Maybe to share that a little bit with the audience.
Thanks. Well, thank you for asking. I mean, I had a wonderful childhood. I grew up here in Calgary, in Canyon Meadows, so South Calgary. When I grew up, that was like almost as south as Calgary got, and now it's just amazing to see this city continue to grow. And yeah, I mean, I've always been very interested in sports. I grew up playing soccer until I was a teenager. I left sport, you know, pretty typical age as a female, around 13. So we really worked to try and make sure girls stay involved in sport, you know, past that age of 13, 14, when we see a lot of girls drop out. But I loved growing up in the city, and I loved the school that I went to. I've been fortunate to be in a leadership role, and I had a great career at CSEC or the Calgary Flames. And I wasn't a very traditional learner. You know, my experience in school didn't look like everyone else's. You know, I'm a pretty hyperactive person. So that's a challenge for a young person.
Yes.
And so it's paths are they're never straight, right?
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. That's where you and I met, through CSEC, Calgary Sports Entertainment. As you're going to, when you went to more like school, did you go to university? Is there a certain particular class that you took that really hit your potential?
You know, this is an interesting question, and school was hard for me growing up. I wasn't, you know, I mean, I had a hard time sitting still. I had a hard time focusing, and it wasn't until high school I found journalism. I love to write, and that really sparked an interest in in other opportunities when it came to communications and journalism. I didn't go to post-secondary until I was about 21, so I took some time off and traveled and worked, and I took communications. Was what I went into. I was really interested in PR and journalism, and I knew that I wanted to work in sport. So, you know, as a young person, I was either going to work at a, you know, ski resort, or, you know, I wanted to work in professional sport or sport and recreation. And so I was in PR for about a year and a half, and then switched into the sport management, David Lake's program at the time, it was a college, so Mount Royal College. And, you know, when I talk to students, I really emphasize the importance of learning the things that you don't think you'll ever need and you're not that interested in. You know, we're all so inclined to lean towards our strengths and the things that we know best and that we're most interested in.
Yes.
But I really emphasize, like, really focus on the things you're not good at, right? Because when I was in college, I was not particularly interested in finance or accounting, and as I moved through my career, it was those things that became critically important, because those were my, at the time, weaknesses. So to really focus on the things that you are not interested in, not necessarily like, you know, at a high level, but the things you're not good at, right? That's what school's for.
Thank you for sharing that. ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਔਰ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਪੈਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਦਾ PR sports bet ਉਹਦਾ ਇਨਕੁਇਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਕੈਂਡੀਸ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੀ ਆ Calgary Sports Entertainment ਬਹੁਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਾਈ ਜੌਬ ਸੀਗੀ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਮੋਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਲੀ ਹੈ ਹੁਣ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ president of the Calgary Sports Calgary. As we're talking more about, tell us about your transition from CSEC to Sport Calgary.
Yeah, I was with the Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation, or the Calgary Flames, for 19 and a half years. So it was, you know, my entire adult life, and lots of different functions there, but I left as the executive director of our foundations, the Flames Foundation being the biggest, and then moved into the leadership position, so president of Sport Calgary. And, you know, it's been a wonderful transition. It's a new challenge. Sport Calgary is doing a lot of work in a similar space, but a very different organization, obviously. And it's been great to be back. I didn't leave for very long, but to be back in this sector and in a high impact position, which, you know, I had at CSEC and I continue to have now. And the team at Sport Calgary has been doing tremendous work for a number of years. And it's a great new challenge.
Well, first of all, we're excited to work with you again. You know, also from the media side and also working with kids. To me, kids has been always a passion for me for almost a decade now. I've been working with a lot of kids that are high-risk youth.
Yeah.
And the most important is people don't realize it doesn't have to be sports, but it has to be something. Someone has to care for somebody. So the most important is likewise people connect together. And can you share some of the events that Sport Calgary does? Because I know you guys also touch youth, but you also do adult events too. Maybe touch the adult events so we could let the audience know there's events you guys are going to try too.
Thanks. And yeah, Coach Harp, you've done such a great job in engaging youth in sport and for all of the power of sport things that brings to a young person's development. And Sport Calgary, it's been amazing to get in this chair and just see the sheer volume of the programs and events run. And this is everything from, you know, we've got All Sport One Day coming up on June 20th, which is a sport discovery, completely free event happening all over Calgary. But all year long, Sport Calgary is offering completely free sport programs all over the city of Calgary. And those are mostly multi-weeked programs, so anything between 2 and 12 weeks, and focused on a variety of ages. So we do, obviously there's an emphasis on youth when it comes to critical hour programming and exposures to new and different kinds of sports and free opportunities to be engaged on an ongoing basis. But also, you know, last week I was at something that the team hosted for seniors. So in partnership with Karya, and that was really, you know, when you think about sport, it's not, you know, sport is not defined by registering for a sport that is really well known, right? This is, you know, everything from skipping to fencing to martial arts to spontaneous play on a playground. So we've got a lot of programs around the city that's really about exposure and movement, just trying things out and getting out of your comfort zone and trying something new. And it is for people of all ages. A lot of our programs, you'll put your child in a program of what's happening, you know, over here. And then we were at Genesis Center a couple weeks, and then the parents could go and try Tai Chi in the other room. So we really look for, it is servicing all ages and really just about, you know, trying something new or finding something you love and a little bit what happens in between.
Thank you for sharing that. Sports Calgary Hagia organization youth programs bia, seniors programs bia, not adults program bia Hagia. ਹੁਣ most important ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਅਡਲਟਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੀ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਬਸ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਫਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੇਟ ਕਰੀਏ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਹਰ ਆਈਏ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ last week you guys did a Tai Chi program and the thing is they also touch base with senior citizens too on sports Calgary both different age groups diversity ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੀਏ involve kariye thode apa healthy lifestyle kariye because most important ਘਰ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ TV ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਬਾਡੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਲੇਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ ਤਾਈਓ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਕਾਲਗਰੀ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਅੱਜ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੈਂਟ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀਜ਼ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆ for all age groups ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ Sursangam ਨੂੰ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. Thank you for sharing that. So I was just telling there's a whole bunch of 4 different age groups.
Thank you.
As you're saying is one of the, you guys do events all year, right? What are some of the events that may not be heard of? Like, you know, there's always football, soccer, basketball, and hockey.
Yeah.
What are the events that are not well known? So the audience could say, hey, I want to go try that out.
Yeah, I mean, this list is huge. And getting into this chair, I'm like, holy, there's like 190 sports identified. And Sport Calgary works with over 1,100 members, more than 500 sport groups.
Yes.
And so on All Sport One Day, which is June 20th, we're at 11 different locations in the city. And I'll go through some of the sports because I was like, you know, when you really dive into it, I'm like, oh, what am I going to choose? But so in Citadel, we have tennis, ski jumping, baton twirling, biathlon. At Genesis, We've got, you know, rugby and flag rugby and basketball. We also have fencing, flag football, taekwondo, kickboxing, Glenmore Athletic Park, netball, cricket, inline skating, fencing. And you look at some other ones at MMP, we've got a big hub for adapted sport for both, you know, that is for anyone to try or to participate in, but water polo's there, hand cycling. Ramsey, we've got winter guard. You know, when you talk about sports that you might not have thought about, cheerleading, frisbee, karate, padel. At Seven Chiefs, we've got a girls specific, so a girls camp for hockey, but also winter guard, broom ball, right? Some of those things that you're like, ooh, I might want to try that. That's like really different. Disc golf at Trico, wrestling at UFC, rhythmic gymnastics at UFC, boxing at Vision Center. We've got some intro to strength training sessions, field hockey, climbing, and luge at Winsport, futsal. So some sports that you might, you know, you do think about those sports, right? When you're considering what to try or what the child in your life might like. But there's so many offerings in smaller clubs that are really amazing for people of all ages, but specifically kids to get into. You know, we all have, we know kids that love their thing, and that's great, but it's great. You know, we really, really emphasize the importance of multi-sport, which is broadly discussed in the sports community, pros and cons, but trying something new and the risk of over-specialization. So whether you've got the sport that you love and you're looking for something else that might complement it, or you just want to try something new, right? There is a ton here to get behind and just give a go.
You said something that the audience might not be aware of. Even I know what it is. Can you go more into what adaptive sports is?
Yeah, so adaptive sport is around accessibility. Adaptive sport, you look at it, and it is for people who are impacted by a range of disabilities. So these can be newly acquired, so people who weren't born with a specific injury or ailment. So you'll see, you know, a lot of amputees, limb loss, and then people who are impacted by a range of disabilities. That's anything from physical, intellectual, mental. So you'll see groups like Special Olympics and the Adapted Sport Hub, and, you know, AMP Legacy Foundation's running a number of sledge hockey programs. But at MMP, no matter who, so this can be specifically for anybody that able-bodied people can come and just try it, or people who are playing or want to experience sports and may be impacted by a disability. But we'll have at MMP, so Lindsay Park, adapted soccer, adaptive gymnastics, and sledge hockey is available at a few locations, as well as some swimming offering and hand cycling. So it's really important, I think, just to have the adapted sport offerings, but also for people to understand what they're all about, right? And that's, something to really understand and try.
I like how we're not leaving anyone left by themselves, because we've hit everything, and the most important thing is we want everyone to participate in some sort of support capacity to get involved, have fun.
Yeah, accessibility is important. So is visibility. Right? So it's great to raise awareness about these offerings, and for every person to understand as well, right? This is like something that should be thought about, considered when we're program planning, whether that's infrastructure, facilities, events, and programs, right? Is different kinds of offerings that are very accessible to a range of different kinds of people.
So can you I know you said the locations, can you say in the Northwest we have this location, and that way the audience that live in those locations will have an idea which facility they could go to? Yeah,
I mean, I will go through the locations. So Northeast, I'm like looking at the list here, and I'll start in the South. So we've got Trico Center, Vision Sports Center, Seven Chiefs, and then we go more central, we'll have MMP, Ramsey, West Side Rec Center, which is a bit west, and then Glenmore Athletic Park. And then moving north, we've got activations or events at UFC, Citadel, let's see, I'm missing one, Genesis Center, And I think I said Trico in the South
Yes,
as
you
well.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
So we've got 11 in total. If you go to the Sport Calgary website, which is sportcalgary.ca, you'll see right there. It says All Sport One Day, and you click on a location, and then the schedule comes up. And what's cool about this too is these aren't like, I'm a mom. I love community celebrations. I'm all for the bouncy castle and the tri-sport in the field. These are sessions that you can register for. So it's a proper, you get a proper experience when it comes to, you can try an hour of ringette at Seven Chiefs and then come off of that as a young person and have experienced something of what, like that's what an hour registered in ringette might feel like. So it really is, you're registering for a time and a place and a sport versus going to in a community activation where there's a bunch going on and you're doing it for 5 minutes. It's like a proper, they're both proper exposures, but it's a real registered program. And the ability to come out of that 1 hour interaction and be like, I love that, or nope, that's not for me, I'm gonna try something else.
I like that. For me, मैं football खेले American football खेले so I see linked है Calgary Stampeders नारे जुजे है इतने है Calgary Bears they minor league football they amateur खेलना मांगते but maybe professional खेलना मांगते down the road होने they Sport Calgary ये बहुत different है it 109 events basically we're talking about.
Yeah,
that's a lot of events. होने see देखो दिन events in list कितने जाने center भी कर दिया whole body भी कर दिया and a lot of your events are for free, right?
They're all free.
So it is a event free नारे दे दो सी देखना मांगते research करना मांगते can you share the website with them? So
yeah, it's sportcalgary.ca. So www, do you even say that anymore? www.sportcalgary.ca. And you'll see, like we've got All Sport One Day, which is what I've been talking about. That's on June 20th.
Yes.
We have another one that's on August 15th. But if you go to the events listing, so sportcalgary.ca/events, we keep posted on there. We work with 1,100 different members, but different information about camps, clinics, free programs, what's going around in the city. So we try and keep that really up to date as far as checking out what could be happening in your community.
This program is free. Our goal है कि अपन नैनों busy रखिए. They और कोई limitation है कि they adaptive sports है कि they कोई नैनी wheelchair पे है कि they कोई disability है कि सारे को program भी है कि अपना goal है कि अपन नैनों busy रखिए, gang life, drug life पे ना जावे. So I just wanted to share with you that we do these preventative measures to keep the kids busy so they don't go down the wrong road either through drugs, gangs, and violence, stuff like that. Because the most important, it takes a village to care about kids.
Yeah.
I know I was talking this before on my drive. We need more empowering sessions for women.
Yeah.
And is that something you guys would be interested? Because I know that in the community that's something that's not there yet, but we want to make sure that it will be available down the road for women to hear other women empowering others.
It's so important, right? You know, I talked about how I left sport at 13. That's the average age. We've got programs specifically for girls. So we had a fencing girls only program last week. In the winter we had a skateboarding girls program. But yeah, it's critically important for see her, be her, right? You want, that is an important message, and young girls want to know that there's pathways for them, whether it's participation in sport or careers or even social pathways. Yeah, and it's, we do see girls leave, a lot of girls leave sport around the age of 13, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But we want to do what we can to address the reasons and create solutions. And that's everything from how a female's body changes around that age to other social, emotional options. And, the more girls we can get to stay in sport, the fewer that will leave because, their girlfriends are doing other things. So, there's a lot of reasons why girls leave sport at that age, but we really want to address why and find solutions to make sure that girls can stay engaged.
Thank you. Do you have any last message that you want to share with the audience about June 20th and the August event, and then how we're coming together as one of your South Asian media partners to make sure we break the language barrier. And then the last one is just involving everyone, sense of belonging.
Yeah, I mean, sport, it's the beautiful part of sport is it really does create a sense of belonging outside of a community that you might have already been established in. We talk about this for a young person and how you could join or participate in a sport and it's a new social circle. The sense of belonging associated with that participation in any sport at any level, it's a new environment, and based on what it is, there's already the element of teamwork and cohesion. And thank you for sharing our message. It is, you know, when you talk about barriers to participation, so often we go to affordability, which is a barrier, and it is a big one. But then there's the navigation of the systems in order to participate in sport, which is also a barrier. So appreciate you sharing this message as far as even the platform that Sport Calgary has or tries to utilize when we're raising awareness about what's out there for families and for people of all ages. So that's critically important, and we're looking forward to working with you and the organization more to get that message out there, because there are many barriers to participation, but navigation is one of them. And understanding what, where, and how is also a barrier that we're working hard to address.
Thank you for sharing that. Action is most important. One ਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਪੋਰਟ Calgary ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ, ਇਹਦੇ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਇਵੈਂਟਸ ਹੈਗੇ free ਆ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ Calgary ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਲੋਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਿੱਚ, Genesis Center ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆ, Genesis Center ਇਹਨੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ one sport one day, June 20th, then ਫਿਰ ਇਹਨੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ August ਇਹਨੂੰ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੀ sports ਵਿੱਚ participate ਕਰੀਏ. Candice, thank you for being on our studio today.
Thanks, Coach Harp. I really appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thank you.